Okay, so let's talk about the gonadal system and stress. This is a hugely important component, probably one of the most important modules to understand how stress is impacting the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axes. So let's go through this really quickly. You've seen this diagram before already. The hypothalamus releases gonadotropin releasing hormone to the pituitary, which then releases both LH and FSH, which have different impacts on the testicles and ovaries. In women, it is about follicle maturation when follicle stimulating hormone interacts with the ovaries, and that is correlated with estrogen production. FSH also causes sperm maturation. LH, and that's in men. LH, luteinizing hormone, is responsible for the follicle rupture and ovulation and the release of the egg, and also, along with FSH, is responsible for testosterone production as well. And then estrogen and progesterone, as a result of these activities, feedback on the hypothalamus and the metabolic regulation, which is oftentimes the best way to think about metabolism really is as a thermostat. So the thermostat is then turned down and adjusted. Now stress acts at the hypothalamus and disrupts this whole cascade of events. And this is where you end up with fertility issues, libido issues, mood changes, body composition issues, among other changes. Stress is hugely important, and this is where it's having its impact. Now, let's talk briefly about chronic stress and female belly fat, because chronic stress, really, this is where it impacts women the most. And also one form of stress, a couple forms of stress that you may not at first think of as stress would be chronic dieting in terms of low calorie, excess exercise programs. In some, that can be an issue. And while it's a natural change to the body, you can oftentimes see the changes at menopause often create the exact same things that chronic stress would cause in women. So what happens with stress is it will increase stress hormones. A lot of people don't know this, but stress hormones will increase cravings for salty, sugary, fatty, and high-calorie foods, which then will increase insulin. And of course, stress hormone cortisol is involved in this as well. So you get this high insulin cortisol effect down there at the bottom, which then can increase belly fat along with excess calories. Stress also, chronic stress, will first decrease progesterone, then estrogen, which both estrogen and progesterone have an anti-insulin and cortisol effect, which decreases the ability for those two hormones to impact belly fat. And then also in women, but not men, increased stress will increase testosterone. In men, stress can often decrease testosterone. But this effect of decreased estrogen and progesterone, along with increased testosterone, as well as increased stress hormones leading to higher calorie food intake and insulin, are what are causing some of the fat storage around the middle that many women see. That is really important to understand, because what it tells you is that sometimes this issue is not an issue of too much food, but stress is causing the issue. Now in men it's a little different because, like I said before, the estrogen and progesterone issue are not there, but the impact of stress hormones is still there. They increase consumption and cravings for salty, sugary, fatty, high-calorie foods. And that's a difficult effect to overcome with willpower alone, which will increase insulin and cortisol. And with men, chronic stress will decrease testosterone. And in men, as opposed to women, testosterone decreases belly fat. So having lower testosterone can cause heavier amounts of fat storage around the middle. That's really important in terms of body composition concerns that many people have.